Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. On behalf of the United Nations Development Program, the Regional Bureau for Arab States, I would like to welcome you to this session today. This session is titled From Job Seekers to Local Change Makers, Young Entrepreneurship, and Indigenous Knowledge. I'm Layal Wehbe. I'm a project analyst and economic officer at UNDP, the regional youth team, and I will be moderating the session today. We're really honored by the presence of our speakers and of course, our audience. Thank you so much for being here. And before I introduce our esteemed panelists, I'd like to walk you through really quickly the rationale, but also the objectives of our session today. So the Arab region today hosts the biggest youth cohort. 30% of youth across the region are aged between 15 and 29 years old. And this is huge, and this constitutes a really big opportunity for creativity, for innovation, but at the same time, the region experiences some of the world's biggest challenges. Unemployment, for example, is really high. Youth unemployment stands on average at 28% across the region. And youth in rural areas and in underserved communities, they face even deeper challenges. So unemployment and many other challenges that we will go through in the session today. The focus on entrepreneurship discourse has been focused on cities, has been focused on big urban hubs. But today, what we would like to do is actually shift the attention to the urban communities, shift the attention and pay and focus more on traditional knowledge, on indigenous knowledge, on rural entrepreneurship, and on sustainable communities within these rural areas. And just two quick definitions, and then we start. So by indigenous knowledge, we mean the locally rooted practices. We mean the cultural traditions. We're talking about environmental adaptations. We're talking about generational know-how and of communities. For example, this is when we talk about examples of traditional knowledge and know-how in agriculture, in medicine, in water management, in crafts, and many other areas of work. And these are real assets. And by rural entrepreneurship, we're emphasizing on business ventures that are outside major urban hubs and that focus on rural opportunities. And we're going to hear today from two young entrepreneurs how they used rural opportunities, rural resources to actually build their business ventures. And we're going to focus on traditions and innovation that happen that they use to create jobs, to create income, to generate income, to lead to this green transition and to lead to this local resilience. But at the same time, we know and we will focus on the challenges that youth usually face in these rural areas. And barriers are really high. And here we talk about disconnected markets. We talk about limited access to finance, limited access to technical expertise, to mentorship, limited access to digital connectivity, and so many other barriers that our youth today will focus on. So what we aim to do in this session is mainly two things. One, explore how entrepreneurship rooted in traditional know-how can drive inclusive growth and generate jobs. And two, we're going to look at how enabling environments, so what governments and what the private sector, what ecosystem partners can actually do to support these rural youth innovators. So I encourage you all to really listen actively, to ask questions, to share insights, to share your work if you see similarities. And allow me now to introduce our very special panelists. Our first speaker today is Mrs. Rawan Rajab. Rawan is 25 years old. She's Palestinian. She's an environmental entrepreneur and the founder of Bluestone. Bluestone is a pioneering initiative that transformed recycled glass into eco-friendly art and home decor. She is also the co-founder of the Arab Youth Green Voices Network, and she brings together young climate leaders across the region. Our next speaker is Mrs. Hiba Mikhail from Lebanon. Hiba is a legal and policy expert with more than a decade of experience working with international organizations across the MENA region. She is the co-founder of Circle, where she leads strategic planning and sustainability initiatives. And Hiba's expertise in public law and environmental governance is really valuable. Joining us as well is Mr. Karim Mashriqi from Egypt. He's an entrepreneur with a diverse background in medicine, and education, and youth development. Karim has worked with global organizations on local, national, and international projects, strengthening the role of young people as change makers. He is the manager of education and impact at the Arab Scout region, and very committed to the SDGs and to building initiatives that empower youth. And finally, we're really honored to welcome Mr. Basil Rahmi, a senior executive with 29 years of experience leading major banking and financial institutions in Egypt, but also across the region. He has driven major growth in commercial, retail, and MSMEs portfolios, helping shape national policies that support small and medium enterprises. He's currently the CEO of Mismeda Egypt, and his leadership in financial strategy, transformation, and economic development brings a highly valuable perspective to our discussion. Thank you all for being here today, and thank you. And now we start with the first question to روان. روان كنا عم نحكي كتير عن
So, Ms. Rawan, we were talking a lot about Bluestone and how it started and what are the struggles you have faced, but also the opportunities that you were able to utilize through your business model. Could you please shed more light about your story and how the local know-how or the local opportunities that actually help you in your business model? Thanks a lot, Layal, and I'm really happy to be with you. My name is Rawan Rajab. I am from Palestine, the founder of Bluestone Project. My story started in a spontaneous talk with my father, and he told me once that we are on the ground not just as a number, we are here to make an impact, and this stuck in my mind. It remained in my mind until COVID-19 came, and during COVID-19, the pandemic, we were disconnected from the world somehow, and there was a lot of free time. So I utilized that free time to think of something that can create an impact. I started exploring and discovered that we have a problem in the Palestinian environment, that we have a lot of glass waste that are actually transported to landfills, and this amount is 3.7 to 4.7 tons. So I was thinking, how can I resolve this issue? How can we treat or address this problem of wastes? Especially the glass. Glass does not dissolve over time. And here was the idea of Bluestone, which is actually focus on recycling glass so that it is transformed to something inspiring. How? We create some ornaments and items that are used in interior design out of glass. I started during the pandemic with very modest financing, and I actually utilized my local knowledge and know-how and research and everything to create this project and to be born. And I will present some slides on you. The project started in 2020 and it is still in existence today, and it has created a huge impact. You can see this glass. These are the landfills, and here I'm working with my colleagues and my staff, so that so this project, when I first started, it took me a lot of time. It was very modest, and I am proud that I started very modestly from a very simple place next to my house in my village. So this place remained like this for 2 years, and then I secured some funding and I improved and upgraded the area and introduced more products so that the impact became greater. Talking of impact, the real impact of my project throughout this period is that we worked on recycling more than 50 tons of glass waste. This project was a great source of income for my family and I, and it gave job opportunities for 5 people. So me and we have also other 4 who work part-time, and we have raised awareness among children, more than 500 children, and we did also hands-on workshops so that those kids can actually contribute and use the glass wastes and make them in a sustainable way. And we distributed these waste bins so that children can collect the glass, etc. And these are a couple of pictures, and there were a lot of visits to our project from different people to have an idea about what we were doing and to contribute also hands-on. And my project managed to reach not only the area I am in, but a lot of people, so that many people reached us and said that they were ready to supply us with huge amounts of glass. So the point here is to transform waste or useless things in the environment which unfortunately are not recycled into something inspiring. So when people look at this piece or that piece, can see the beauty. So this is something aesthetic. You can see here some examples. So they would remember that this is something positive done out of wastes that are neglected in the environment. Thank you so much.
Very, very inspiring story, especially if when we get to listen in the next question to the challenges that you went through. So thank you so much, Rawan. Over to Hiba. Hiba, we've also been discussing Circle and the story behind Circle and the fact that you went from the city back to a rural area on purpose, because this is what you wanted to experience and this is what you wanted to do. So if you can please tell us more about Circle, the story behind it, how did you make use of a traditional know-how or a traditional opportunity in Bayet?
Thank you very much, Layal. First of all, thank you for having us also at Circle here. I'm very grateful to be able to share our journey and also listen to all the inspiring projects that have been also, Rawan's story and hopefully others as well. So maybe just to start, as you said, Circle was launched also during COVID. I think that was maybe a phase where a lot of us were rethinking our lives and, what's the purpose of everything now, and then being in the city and having to deal with all the lockdowns. And so we moved back to the village at that point because just of the reality of the world at that time. And we were faced with a problem, which is rural waste management and the fact that there were no systems whatsoever when it comes to sorting at the source, recycling, and so on. So that's basically where we started. And I will also maybe move the slides. I don't know if this is... Okay. So maybe to start what Circle stands for. Circle is an acronym for Collective Impact for Regeneration and Conscious Living. So the idea is really about collective impact. And even in our mission, everything is rooted in community and community engagement, because we truly believe that without community engagement, there is no real meaningful change, especially when we're talking about behavioral change. And sorting and recycling, there must be some infrastructure, but there also needs to be willingness for people to also partake and do their personal part or their personal effort. In Europe, this is imposed maybe by authorities and governments, and in our areas, it's more of a personal endeavor that people will have to be convinced to engage on. So this is where we built on, in rural areas in Lebanon, and I assume also across the Arab region, there is this premise that nothing goes to waste. right? And this is what we are focusing on again. When we have discussions with the communities, we engage in educational activities, we talk about how our grandparents, they threw nothing away. They didn't have that luxury. And I think the plastic revolution, the way we like to also call it, and the ease of access to everything, the fact that we're able to not fix broken items, for example, not share our resources, we can renew our phones, so this consumption pattern is leading to a lot of waste that our infrastructure, specifically in rural areas, is not ready for. So this is the problem that we wanted to tackle. And we did that building on the fact that we need to go back to those roots and traditional knowledge of how to protect our environment through those roots. So now we call it the 3 R's, like reduce, reuse, recycle. And this is like a westernized concept. So, but we always tell the community, you already do that. Like if you look at your parents, they already lived like this. So how can we support with the infrastructure that's needed and the systems to help people go back to that? And this is what we've been doing as Circle. So maybe before we go, just to make sure that, so we provided the systems for that participation. I will maybe show a little bit of our work. So we launched officially in 2023, so we've been operational for 2 years now. We've conducted a wide range of events with more than 2,000 participants. We have volunteers on board, strategic partnerships with municipalities, so governmental institutions, but also the Scouts Association, so, and other also waste management actors, so as part of the Waste Management Diversion Consortium as well, people who actually engage in actual recycling. So our services, at the moment, we're servicing more than 200 households in our areas, NGOs, schools, the local hospital as well. So we try to engage as many of the actors that are on the ground and the big waste producers. We buy the recyclables at our centers, so this is part of the work that we do. And this is where we also are building again on local traditions, right? So we facilitated or we simplified the process. We do sorting in one bag rather than separate bags, and then we do the sorting at our facility to make sure that people are more willing to engage. We also send WhatsApp reminders, for example. We do door-to-door collection. We engage with the people the way that they would traditionally engage in those communities. A lot of also word of mouth that goes on to encourage the community to participate. And then there is obviously in the rural areas that are, as you said, very underserved, the incentives. So we buy it off at a fraction of the price that we would resell the recyclables for, so that communities can also feel supported through these initiatives. Voilà. So this is the facility where we sort and treat and then sell the recyclables. I spoke a bit about some of the educational program that we do and the community engagement. And that's it for Circle.
Thank you, Hiba. Hiba, quick question also. So I also know that you have this family from farm to table business that also falls within the same category. So also in Abayet, and also working and using traditional and rural opportunities and rural labor and creating jobs and so on in Abayet as well. Can you maybe briefly, in just 1 minute, tell us also about this and what you do?
So basically in the village we are now known as the Germans who came back, because we were born and raised in Lebanon. At some point we moved to Germany. I came back to Lebanon in 2010, and then my brother came back more recently, around 3 years ago, to take over my dad's business, basically. My dad is a farmer, and we since launched, he had started building that farm-to-table concept, and the idea was basically always for him, I'm building all of this, I have this farm, I have, the goats, the sheep, the chickens, but who's going to take this over? Like, no one, none of us knows how to do the goat cheese and, the different type of apple ciders or brandies that he produces. So, and this is what has been going on since. So, this fits a little bit again into, you know, what local opportunities do we have in our rural areas if we just value this type of work. I think a lot of the discussions that we've heard yesterday are also about how, you know, we're valuing development, tech, and this modernization, digitization of everything. But then we're forgetting also that this is also necessary for society. And a lot of people are, you know, for them, this is the dream. I want to do this when I retire. And I always say, you know, why wait? Why wait till then? If this is what you want to do, if this is what brings you joy, go ahead and find the opportunities to do this now. So these are some of the products that we have: sourdough bread, you know, different types of moune, as we say in Arabic. And yeah, so this is how we are building on this traditional knowledge of how to prepare food from your own garden, from your own farm, and then make sure that people can also have a taste of it. And it's delicious. So if you are in Lebanon at any point in the northern mountains, I invite you to come. And obviously you can also check out the business and the page. Thanks.
Thank you, Hiba. Very, very inspiring. Thank you. And thank you for the invite as well. Now, Karim. Karim, over to you, and a question on community-based engagement. So from your scouting experience and working with youth, and you've told me that you worked a lot with youth and SMEs and rural communities. So for you, and based on this experience, how does community-based engagement empower young entrepreneurs, and what role can community-based institutions actually play in this?
Now good? Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for having us, and the projects are really inspiring, so thank you for sharing. Um, First of all, I would like to emphasize on something يعني ممكن مش ناس كتير قوي عارفاها واخدة بالها منها, which is the يعني انا عارف, انا هتكلم بمنتهى الصراحة, انا عارف ناس كتير بتبص لنا ان احنا
A lot of people look at us that we are people of theory only, that we only go to the media, and what the scouting does
of young people working everywhere, ودي حاجة احنا we're very proud of. احنا have 60 million active members, فاحنا we are on the ground, وهو ده يعني السؤال اللي احنا جايين.
So if we talk about what we are working on the ground, and how to create a real impact on the ground through من خلال through community-based project, this is called a scouting education approach, which means or has an objective of creating useful, active citizens. How can we do this? We work on their physical, mental, social, and emotional abilities. So how can we do that? We do that by encouraging them all the time to be active citizens. They have to do something good.
والمجتمع اللي حواليك, والكلام ده بيخليهم by time proactive.
And this is really important point. It's not only a person okay looking or wait for something to happen, so that someone is looking for to change in the world. There's a very important point we'd like to work on or working on. Everyone has to feel safe. If I have a project or would like to in a certain activity, I'm not afraid to make mistakes, so that we provide coaching and mentorship, okay, to be able to make a project, whatever the project is, what the target or objective of this project. So that is this person, okay, he got the trust and confidence. If he left, okay, to find something outside, and he's going to be self-confident. When I do this in the community, in the local community, the engagement that happens and the exposure and even what the gaps of the market that make them able to deal with decision makers, and this is a generation dialogue when they can see the idea of entrepreneurship. Okay, I can make something which is really important. It might be successful. And while we are making a framework for them, okay, to make a project, okay, scouts, okay, through, so all of the generation, okay, from different ages, we tell them about SDGs and what are the goals, 17 goals, and then they take a step, okay, forward. They choose two goals, okay, and we work on these goals, okay. 2 years ago, okay, we a group of scouts, okay, we are working on the same. Since we were talking about plastic and recycling, there was a problem like Iskandaria in Egypt. All of the people in this summer, okay, people are throwing in the sea, and as you know, okay, the pollution in the sea and even the marine life, so that they have decided to clean, okay, the water on the seashore, and they found, okay, out about 1 ton or 2 tons, and they are going to do it always, okay, so that what we have started to have a big awareness campaign through media and through newspaper, uh, and some activists, okay, got really inspired about this idea and about this project, and they have started what are the problems that might happen in the water, and they discovered that the boats, okay, they are throwing the oil of their engines in the water, so that SMEs one of the SMEs, okay, started to take the oil from these boats, okay, and started to sell this oil, so that through the community made a business, okay, out of nowhere, so that this is what we are doing, okay, so that we put the children, okay, girls and boys, okay, in this perspective.
ونحن عم يعني عم نشوف على الأرض أوقات لما نشوف
This is what we see on the ground, okay, the same like this example, when we see those people are working on the ground, what the real effects and impact. Thank you so much.
بدنا نشوف كيف
uh, Up to now we found out, okay, how the youth, the girls and boys, okay, they were looking for a job, and they have decided to be entrepreneurs. I mean, despite the difficulties, they would like to achieve their goals and objectives and dreams, and started to open their businesses and be entrepreneurs and have an impact on the community. And we have seen how the local communities and local entities, they have a big role in the orientation and how to direct and guide, okay, those youth. My question to Mr. Basil, since we are looking, we find the development of projects in Egypt is very big, and when we look at the numbers, okay, this is really big, important and big work. How Egypt, okay, was able or is able to transfer, okay, the thousands of job seekers to be entrepreneurs and to have an impact on their communities. Thank you so much all. Thank you, Layal, for this introduction. I would like to welcome my colleagues on this panel. I thought I am the last one, okay, because I'm older than them, and I discovered that they are clients, okay, for our company. Development of a project's institution is really important for the Egyptian government, Under the umbrella of board, under seven ministers in this board. Okay, what is the job of this uh, system or entity or institution? Okay, the most important is the woman. More than 33 years, okay, in the Egyptian market, we have started. Yes, we have started in 1991, and in 2020 it was social funds, okay, and now for SMEs fund. The main role, okay, of this this institution to provide the youth, okay, especially women, and this is the main goal. 49% of the portfolio is women, and 51% of the landings in the side of Egypt, which is neglected, okay, that we consider as neglected areas. We are focusing on this institution is 4 5 arms when we have landing or the direct funding from the inside of the institution, or indirectly through different committees or institutional financial institution or banks. Okay, any financial institution, we can give them loans. And last week, the Bank of Egypt, we give them 500 million pounds to pounds. Okay, those are the clients, okay, who are sitting next to me. Now we have 39 banks in Egypt, more than 3,000 branches of them. Okay, so that they are spreading over all Egypt. Not only we are not only working with banks, but we are working with Post Office Egypt of Egypt, NGOs also. Okay, they are. Egypt is a very big market. We have more than 4,000 centers. We can get in touch with all of these institutions through the banks or NGOs, which they are really important. More than 59 NGOs, they are working in microfinance, and now we are working with 26 NGOs. What we give them everything. We give them training, we give them funding. We apply the law on them. What is the law? Okay, number 152 2020. Okay, this is the law that regulates, okay, the performance, everything under this SME project. First of all, we give a definition: who is the micro client, who is the small client, and who is the medium client, so that who is getting into the category. So that what are the features, okay, are what the country or the government give them. First of all, the youth. Yes, okay. Okay, so the youth, okay, 90% of them today, okay, what's happened? They get graduated. They don't want to work in corporate life. They don't want to work as in a job. Okay, they don't want to work in a company. They don't want to work in for the government. What they are looking for a business. Now let's get back. What's happening in Egypt? Okay, we have 750 thousand. They graduate from the universities and institutions. Where do they go? Where do they have? So the governments, they are not able. The government is not able to give them jobs. So that we are in this authority to for the development of projects. We start to. Okay, we give them tailored programs or on-shelf programs. Okay, we know what we take the mandate from the board, and they know what the country, what the government, what the country needs, so that we so focus on what the country needs, not the objective here. Okay, just to give funding or financing to for the loans, the commercial roles, and these commercial roles. So the products or financing, commercial financing, they are imported. Imported. This is a very dangerous on the region in the Middle East. Do we know how to? Okay, we have everything. We have the will and we have the youth in the Middle East. They can manufacture. We have a lot of things. Okay, most of them are from China. Okay, why we are not able to manufacture? We can, but we need the mandates and the willingness to do it. So this is one of the main rules, okay, that we have to encourage the productive funding, like industrial, agricultural, embedded with technology. It's really important to have the rules of the institution, and the role of partnership and main partners who are UNDP. They are donors since 1991, and we work with all of the donors across the world. And this is the funding that we have in the last 3 years. The last 10 years, okay, we have with the outcome was more than 10 billion pounds, Egyptian pounds. Job training, we had a job training, and over 1 million Egyptian. Always this is in phase one, okay, or stage one, how to coordinate between all of the Arab countries surrounding us. And this is really important role, okay, that we have to focus on and look at, okay, and look at, because there's no country in the Arab countries, they have a lot of features. So instead of, okay, import this copper from the grass from China, so that we need to make a trade between Egypt and Palestine, instead of importing this bottle, for example, glass bottle from China, so that we can make it. We have the same language, we have the same atmosphere and climate. We have everything. We are close to each other. Trading between these Arab countries, in my point of view, is really important. And we have, for the government, supposed to focus on, okay, to have exchange in cultures and change in the expertise, exchange in how to deal. I'm not going to take longer time, okay. As I have said, okay, mainly we are focusing on the youth and women in Egypt. Is for surprisingly, that the ladies, so they don't have difficulties, and they are about to risk more than the guys. And the last, okay, non-financial services, they are in the law of 152. What are the other non-financial services? First of all, taxes, okay, up to 20 million, to 20 million turnover, up. So the just only the client who pays 1.5 tax, so that's it. The turnover is to 20 million, okay, so that you have to pay just only 1.5. In addition, the other the main industrial areas. Okay, in Egypt, 30% of these industrial areas are specialized for SMEs. Also, the customs. What is the production line or production products? They take less than 2 years in customs. So though all of these privileges that's given by the government for the youth, okay, to support them and to go for entrepreneurship, okay, we are working still working on this law to help them to work more. The last point, okay, I'd like to talk about the exhibitions. We have a lot of exhibitions in Egypt and outside of Egypt. The last exhibition, it was about Turathna or heritage, our heritage in Saudi Arabia, in Morocco, Emirates, in Jordan, in Lebanon. In all of these countries that they have a rich heritage, okay, we are working together, and we had more than 32 articrafts crafts and 170 more than 172 vendors. I would like to thank you so much. I'm really sorry, but I wanted to show the people how what is the job that we are doing. Thank you. Shukran.
Yes. So basically, for you, youth do have the know-how, right? But they need access to resources. They need access to financial opportunities. They need access to know-how, expertise, but also they need access to maybe networking and sharing experiences. And these are exactly the challenges. Some of these maybe that both Rawan and Hiba have been struggling with. So Rawan نحن حكينا كتير عن challenges وبعتقد ك
We have talked about challenges, Rawan, and especially from a rural area in Palestine. We can imagine, okay, how deep the challenges are and the obstructions you face. And I know when we meet you and we meet you personally, we know I know the session is not enough, okay, to talk about everything. Could you tell us briefly when we talk about the Bluestone, how it started, uh, and with the events that happened and the war that happened and the repercussions as well. Okay, could you tell us what are the constraints and you were able to overcome or still overcoming? First of all, I'd like to talk about the challenges that started with our journey. At the beginning, the difficulty of funding. I have started with $5,000 only about funding. It was just only simple equipment, and I was sure, okay, that it has an impact on the community, and I insisted to continue. And also, there was a difficulty how to grind the glass so that Talitif so that if I needed funding. I tried to and after 2 years I got okay funding and to have the varieties of productions. And another point, okay, concerning the knowledge, I'm a graduate of arts. So when I wanted to start with entrepreneurship, I started with my project while I'm at the university. Since I started with the project, I wanted to start in leadership courses, entrepreneurship courses. Also, as well, I had the lack in the technical expertise how to mix all of these materials to have a product to get to the market. I looked for experts in this field, okay, for this product to get into the market. So after 1 year exactly, okay, I was able to get into those experts. Another point, the marketing, how to get into the market. As you know, the situation in Palestine, it's not easy. As you know, the economic situation in Palestine, so it's not really basic for the customer. And especially I'm of a rural area and having challenges and economic constraints. Unfortunately, this challenge I wasn't able to overcome. If I'm Bluestone, I know if it's another region, it's going to be successful. And there's another challenge, okay, I faced as a Rawan. As you have seen, I work with cement, glass, and I used to get into the streets and recycling. In my point of view, I had to find difficulties, but the change that Bluestone made, and people loved this project, so the people started to look at the project in a positive way, and people would like to have a look at this project. It was a result of course, hard working, so the people appreciated the idea. Thank you, Rawan. I have two questions, simple questions. Okay, so the municipalities, we were talking about the role of the municipalities, or the role which they are not able to tell us. Could you tell us about the role of the municipality? We have started with initiatives of sorting the region that I'm working. We have started with centers for sorting. We don't have a social awareness about the importance of recycling, because the situation which I am in, okay, and this is the last thing, okay, to think about, which is recycling. I have to think about rebuilding infrastructure after destruction. I know I am in the area with they have hosted the idea or initiative of recycling, and we have sorted about 15 tons of waste. And now we are looking forward, okay, to have coordination with the municipalities to provide us with this waste, okay, to use. And of course, now we are working on sustainability in the country. Rawan, you were talking about your family, that your family were helping you and giving you assistance. At the beginning, of course, at the beginning they said to stop. People were astonished how to work with this idea, and how I'm going to use to change the glass into something really important. How the products, okay, the people didn't imagine how this is going to be make a change, how it's going to be transferred. So that we have started to think if it's going to work or not. Okay, so that it was at COVID-19 time, so that the country was closed and there was no way for any person to go out, and there was blocking. So I used to go to the nature. I get glasses. I got different raw materials. So my family, okay, took care of this project, and so my family used to say, "Oh, she's going to the factory and she's coming back from the factory," and I believe that this project is going to get a bigger factory. Thank you, Rewan. Hiba.
And we know the situation lately coming, it has been even harder. So can you tell us from your point of view, how was it coming back? What challenges did you face? And did you ever regret coming back?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. أول شيء just a side note يعني أمثلة
First of all, I'd like to invite you to come to Lebanon as a part of the challenge.
the world. Everything is set up to make you fail somehow. So maybe just one part of the challenges that we faced, obviously, is being so remote. Yeah, we are 3 hours away from Beirut to the north, like very close to the Syrian border. Like there's almost nothing. At the time when we were starting to operate, there was no electricity. We could not operate a baler. So the type of challenges that probably, in other communities, they would not exist. The fact that you're not able to do anything without registration, but then registration is so costly, you have to hire a lawyer, and you're not even starting. Like you're not sure, am I going to sustain this? Is it even worth it to engage in all of these legal, but at the same time you want to be professional and you want to, show that you actually are serious about your business. So all of these things that are to consider. Maybe just one thing that is the general lack of access to financing due to the banking sector crisis. So there's even, for the best of startups, no real way to get funding unless you're looking for investors. And investing in waste management, is not very attractive, okay? There is maybe some money to be made, but mostly not from selling recyclables. It's mostly due to other reasons, and I think you're maybe familiar with the ecosystem around waste management, specifically in Lebanon. So we couldn't get loans, we couldn't get access to financing. What was available, and thank you for you as well, to UNDP for being part of the support in the initial phase. So the incubation projects, the programs that we were able to participate in, be it with Beritech, Fondation Diane, or others, really helped us, to make sure that our business model is solid. And we reworked the whole thing. So initially we were going into recycling plastic, and we were so happy with the idea, production, and it's, craftsmanship, the nice things you imagine. But then on the ground, you said you went up the mountain to look for glass, and we were going to do the same with plastic. It was going to be like, where do I get the plastic from? Like, if no one is sorting the plastic, I will have to end up buying it at, I don't know, $600 a ton. Doesn't make sense for the business model. So we reworked everything. We said, okay, we're going to go back to zero. What do we need? We need people to sort. So let's start there. And this is what we've been doing now for 2 years. People are more aware. There is a system. We know the quantities that we have. We know what type of production is needed. What are the materials that we can't really sell for a good price that would be more, useful going into production. But there, in the initial incubation phase, there was a lot of support. Where we felt the lack of support is in the acceleration phase, where you're like, okay, we know what we want to do. We have everything set up. And now we need the support to get, the solar panels and the 3-phase generators and all of that. And this is where the cost goes up and where you need this type of support. UNDP provided some in-kind support, so we are solar powered thanks to UNDP. But it stopped there. So for us, for the production part, it's really more of our own efforts that we had to put into that. So how we overcame those challenges is really through the partnerships that we were able to build. So locally in our area, we were able to find partners, so a chain of industries called Olivia, and they also have the same drive for community impact, providing local jobs, and so they provided also a lot of the infrastructure. So our warehouse, the shop that we're using, they are supporting with all of this infrastructure, which was very, very useful. So the same also for the Waste Management Diversion Consortium, where we have shared resources with over 28, I think, waste management SMEs in Lebanon. But also now with the digitization, we're looking at partnership with Omega Software to really digitize our systems and not use Excel anymore, because that's not a thing these days. So these are the ways that we're overcoming these challenges. And I mean, it's challenging. But when you're looking for solutions, I think even if they're not the traditional solutions that one would go towards, looking in your network, you can still find people who are also convinced with what you do, specifically for social enterprises in the green sector, in the waste management sector. I think there you have a lot of opportunities to find common ground.
Thank you, Heba. So no regrets?
No regrets.
No regrets. Okay,
no, not at all.
Okay, good. Happy to hear that. Karim, now listening to Rawan and Hiba, what role do you think can these youth-led green enterprises play to in reducing this urban-rural gap, or and also the rural-urban migration?
Thank you. Well, yeah, I believe إن دي نقطة مهمة جدا إن إحنا بنشتغل عليها في
I think this is really important point to work on in Scouts. Okay, when we design, when we design, we have really a good educational program when we are talking about entrepreneurship and all. Or at the same time, we have training projects, how to initiate programs, and all over Egypt or any other countries, okay, to know a certain something. We let's talk about self-belonging. When we are talking about a person, a girl or a boy, okay, man coming, and there are challenges, and there's resources. We work with them through the framework, how to find the solution to the problem, and to how to find the funding for the project, and then we follow up how to implement, okay, on the ground. So the people, when they come from a certain place they love, okay, and they have self belonging, and they have a lot of challenges, okay, and might find, okay, or talk to themselves, okay, this might happen or might successful. What is the role that we are talking about? We are talking about education and lack of awareness, and why the recycling is really important. What other examples? This is for the community itself, and at the same time we give them all of the resources and educational resources to make implementations on the ground, and to be involved with the local business as well, okay, when they are specialized in a certain area. They have sometimes we have a lot of resources, but they are not working on a certain item, so that the impact on different resources, and they know that there are a lot of difficulties they have settled, and the impact is clear. So smaller communities, we find the impact in smaller communities bigger than other communities. We don't have any reason, okay, that the government, okay, so that the government, okay, provide them, they provide them with to provide them, we make you bigger, okay, in the market, and this is creates problems, of course. At the same time, we don't want, okay, that those youth, okay, to feel that they lack something. What we are going to the last question to Mr. Basil, you have told about the work that you are work on the ground, how the institution, your institution, the programs of the program or institution about the rural and urban, how the institution, how they adopt the funding or financing, especially in the rural areas. I'd like to just to reply to Hiba. Maybe we have this law, okay, for the projects. These projects, okay, this law, okay, is we started with Lebanon. We might work with Lebanon. This is what I was talking about. Okay, so unity is a power. So that when we work together in Lebanon and Egypt, we have something. For example, in the institution, we have 27 governorates in Egypt. We see the competition between these governorates. Some governorates, okay, they are famous for example, black honey or other. This is how supposed to work between the Arab countries and the effective cooperation, constructive cooperation. Go back to your question, especially between the rural areas and urban areas. Okay, now as you know, we are 100 we have one we are 110 million. Okay, we have 120 million smartphones. Smartphones and technology are the base, okay, for to reach, okay, to reach every part of Egypt. Of course, we have some people, they are looking at physical interaction. We have offices and the branches in every governorate. We have some governorates that they have some one office or two offices. And some, when we go to the rural areas, we thank you NDP to have mobile buses as an office, and we used to go to these rural areas in some governorates in Said. The ladies are not exposed. This is the culture. We have to respect. Sometimes we appoint a girl, okay, and this girl, okay, to provide the service before in front of her home, okay, so that to feel comfortable. We communicate, we are able to communicate everywhere. Once again, okay, technology, we are constructing, in my point of view, a revolution. This is real evolution for entrepreneurships and for the employees and the clients. Okay, so that we have to have a national SME platform. This suppose for this platform to have all of the services and the training and peer to peer. This is B2P, okay, not for example, shoes. Okay, when we are talking about shoes and manufacturing a shoes, we know how to complement each other. Karim, I met him before the canal, before the panel, before we sit on the panel. Okay, so that we talked about, okay, how we can cooperate, what we can do, how to increase the educational level. And if this is, in my point of view, this behavior, and if they used to work in this behavior, we are going to be in different direction, and we have really good youth, we have really good young people, we have the startup, and we have this fund of funds, we have in of course we got the income, okay, $50 million, and the bank, okay, talked about the best performance, and they gave us another $20 million for startups. And I would like to thank you all. And let's us exchange our businesses. And I'm ready for anything. Thank you so much.
I can't agree more. Now I'd like to turn to the audience. Please, if you have any questions, any insights, anything you'd like to share, just raise your hand and maybe a quick round. Just, yes, please.
شكرا. Thank you so much. يعني ما شاء الله القصص ملهمة جدا. آم،
Thank you so much. Very inspiring. I started with Dr. Yumna Al-Hamai. I was one of the volunteers. I took this dream with me to UAE. After 20 years, I have started my own consultancy. I am looking for okay an advice. I used to work through my computer and corporate 9 hours. Now I started to go to the community, and I am very lucky to be in this situation. I like I want Hiba and Rawan to give us an advice. It was really difficult to get into the market. I know there are a lot of people in this market, and this is really important points. Okay, maybe controversial points to talk about. I'm talking about my own. I'm talking about my own investment. I'm not. I don't belong to UNDP. Of course, this is prevents me from a certain point, and I would like to get your point of view about how to open the horizons, not or not for those who who belong to UNDP or supported by UNDP. I would like really to hear from you an advice.
So maybe if looking at starting the journey as an entrepreneur, I think the main thing was always for me, what's the immediate next thing that I need to do? Because when you look at the whole big picture, it's very scary. Like you want to get there, but you know there are so many things that you can't, that may happen that you can't see coming. So really, what's the immediate next thing that you can do that will move you there? And for UNDP, I think we were seeking out those opportunities, talking to people. We want to do this, we want to do that. Who knows someone who does this? So it's not necessarily this affiliation, but it's also constantly looking for these types of partnerships. Like I can't do this on my own. I need people to help. Who is willing to help and with what? And a lot of the times you find people who are able to provide support and not the financial support that we are, always expected to find as entrepreneurs, and your business model has to be viable and has to be, convincing all of these. Sometimes people just want to see the impact in the communities, and a lot of people can come around this shared objective. So if your aim is to work on disability and inclusion, who are the actors who are also willing to support you and, and believe in the same objectives that you have? And I'm sure there you will find a lot of people who are willing to support.
أنا ما عندي إضافة كتير على اللي حكته هبة.
I don't have a lot to add to what Hiba has already said, but I believe that you should have a clear business plan with all objectives, challenges, etc., because the written word is a strong reminder of your path and the challenges ahead. So this would help you to reach or achieve the objectives and overcome any challenges or barriers. Another thing is knowledge is power. So try from your position to expand, to network, and have more connections that can give a hand, support in any ways. And even if nobody approaches you, you introduce yourself, present yourself to those people and in organizations that you can benefit from and partner with. So also highlight the solutions that you provide. People actually have a lot of idea, but when you introduce the solutions that you give, that you provide, they will be inspired. I wish you all the best.
Questions? No? Okay. Then, yes? Okay. Please, can you?
السلام عليكم.
Peace be upon you.
عربي ولا انجليزي؟ مثل ما بدي.
I see the title from job seekers to local change makers. So when I look at the Arabic, we are talking about the translation, which is from job seekers to productive communities. But we are in a world of consumers or consumerism, where consumerism prevails. So we need to come up with a strategy of transformation, real transformation, so to speak, because most of the laws, apart from what Mr. Basil has just said, is that we can see this as a message, let's say, that we can build on, that if we have some collaboration between countries, especially in our region, we do need this. especially because our culture is not oversaturated with consumerism as it is in the West. So we need to make extra effort so that we move to our roots, to go back to our origin, because we are producers by nature. And I tell you here about a program that I am working on that I call sustainable communities, smart communities compounds, or smart communities congregation, which I need your support, all of you, which I need your support in. Thank you so much.
My name is Linda Haddad, and just based on the question from our colleague on the other side about, how do you get started, and I loved your response, Hiba, in terms of you just need to start, like know your next step, and you have to network and you have to find people because you need an ecosystem to enable you. And we listen to other voices like you, like youth who were asking for this. And as a result, we had a young person who said they wanted to develop a platform to connect like-minded youth who are working in this space, to connect to each other, share experiences, but also to bring in a network onto the platform so that it becomes accessible more widely, and not just to people who are connected to UNDP, but people living across who have internet access, who can go online and look at the network and who's there and who can help them in terms of knowledge, expertise, resources, opportunities. And so based on what this young person put together, we took it and we developed it further. Layal is actually managing the Next Gen Youth platform, and it's specifically for the Arab region, bringing youth, community builders, policy shapers, entrepreneurs, job seekers onto one space to connect to each other across the Arab states region, and to connect to opportunities, knowledge, resources that exist. And our work at UNDP has been to, as much as we can, get the ecosystem online in this platform, putting the opportunities. There's also a mentorship section as well for youth who, or young people who want to start something but don't know how to get started. And there's people with different profiles who can mentor you completely for free. I just wanted to say this because it comes up all the time as a need, and we're really trying to work with the ecosystem to fulfill this need through a real, youth-driven platform. So I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for raising this, Linda, and we'll get in touch. Two last questions, maybe, please.
I have been in the UAE since 2017, and I believe that the UAE is the best country to start your business as a startup or entrepreneur, and you have a promising community. There are some WhatsApp groups that you can join them. For example, in 971 events, our company, we do social, medical, educational events. In addition to awareness events, we bring people together so that they collaborate, exchange business cards, and this way we can support one another and help one another.